Live as if you lack nothing. Stop going through life like someone begging for chances. Start your day with the attitude of someone who expects nothing, but already has everything they need. Make decisions as if abundance were a natural part of your life. Take each step as if victory were already walking beside you. Think about it for a moment. If you were certain that nothing could go wrong, what would you do today? What choices would you have the courage to make? What risks would you embrace without fear? That's the secret. When you start acting like someone who has already reached their dream destination, your mind shifts. You move away from lack and into the realm of confidence, where doors open, paths appear, and opportunities seem to find you on their own. Those who live trapped in scarcity only increase the emptiness, but those who behave as if they already have it create movement, attract good energy, and build real results. Action is the first sign of abundance, and that's exactly what this teaching is about. Acting before expecting, taking responsibility before having, walking as if you already own your own path. Because the way you think shapes the world you live in. So the first step to creating something new is simple. Write it here in the comments. Today I'm starting to take action. Also mention, I am a Stoic, especially if you never comment, because that's the first wall you need to break down, the wall of inertia. Without action, nothing changes. And before we continue, I only ask two things. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Now, let's begin. Lesson 1. Make confidence your natural state. Think of a doctor who has just graduated and is on his first day of work. He doesn't have much experience yet, but he needs to act firmly, look people in the eye, and convey confidence. If he shows fear, no one will trust him. Or imagine a musician going on stage. Even without knowing if the audience will like it, he sings with passion, as if the music already touches people's hearts. It's the same for you. Even before achieving what you want, start acting as if you're already on your way. That's how change begins. It's like tricking your own mind into understanding that it's already part of your life. Our brain doesn't know how to differentiate between what's real and what's imagined as truth. Therefore, when you act like the person you want to become, your mind begins to change your thoughts, feelings, and attitudes. And when that happens, life changes along with it. That's what we call reprogramming the mind. It's about choosing to act as if success is already guaranteed. This way of thinking changes your energy, your voice, and even your gaze. Think of someone presenting a product. If they speak with fear, without certainty, people sense it and lose interest. But if they approach with clarity, confidence, and firmness, everything changes. What was doubt becomes opportunity. This applies to everything. An interview, an important conversation, even a first date. Those who hesitate lose ground. Those who show conviction gain respect. People trust those who already trust themselves. Marcus Aurelius said, "What hinders action helps action." Just as a diamond only exists because of pressure, growth also comes from challenges. Fear, uncertainty, and the opinions of others can be precisely the backdrop that reveals your strength, but only if you take the first step. Action comes before achievement. Don't wait for guarantees. Act like someone who has already decided to win. If today were the day everything starts to go right, how would you act? Then start like this. Fake confidence until it becomes second nature. Fake clarity until it becomes reality. Act like someone who has already achieved what they want, because that's how success stops being a distant dream and becomes your certain destiny. Right. Confidence is now my natural state, because every time you decide to act with strength, life responds in kind. Lesson 2. No lunch is free. Every person who has achieved what you dream of one day had to pay the price before receiving the reward. They slept little, refused distractions, and traded quick pleasures for silent discipline. If you want that life, act like someone who is already walking that path. Train your body and mind through small, difficult choices. Decide to pay the price now, because the cost of regret always ends up being higher. Do you want to be disciplined? Then get out of bed even when everything is telling you to stay in bed. Do you want to be respected for what you do? Then study, practice, and repeat, even without an audience. Do you want freedom in the future? Take care of your money like someone who is already free. Cut out excesses, get organized, say no where the weak say yes. You don't need to wait for success to start behaving like someone successful. It's the opposite. Behavior creates success. Think of an athlete. They don't have medals yet, but they already act like a champion. They train even when tired, go to bed early, and give up comfort. It's not the trophy that makes him act this way, it's the attitude that leads him to it. Marcus Aurelius said, "What is difficult to endure becomes valuable when overcome." Sacrifice isn't just about giving up something. It's a silent sign that you know where you're going. The mistake is thinking that sacrifice comes after victory. The truth is that sacrifice is victory being built. Every time you choose the harder path, reading instead of getting distracted, training instead of sleeping, staying silent instead of reacting angrily, you are laying a brick in the house of the future you want to live in. Now ask yourself, if I were already who I want to be, what difficult choices would I naturally make? Start with those. If you don't know, observe those who have already achieved it. How does a healthy person live? How does an entrepreneur think? How does a calm person react? Every firm choice you make today is proof that this version already exists within you. Then write, "I'm paying the price for my future." In the end, remember, the price of success is paid up front. The price of regret comes later, and with interest. Life always demands payment, but only you decide whether you will pay with courage or with pain. Lesson 3. The way you see yourself defines how you live. No matter how many compliments you receive, how many people admire you, or how many victories you've achieved, if deep down you still see yourself as small, limited, or worthless, your decisions will reflect that distorted image. It's like trying to build a tall building on soft sand. No matter how good the material is, it won't stand. Similarly, it's no use having talent, preparation, and knowledge if, deep down, you believe you don't deserve it. This belief sabotages you at the moment you most need to shine. You remain silent when you should speak, accept less than you desire, and even apologize for existing. Consider a simple scene. Someone enters a job interview feeling less than they actually are. The voice is low, the gaze averts, the body seems to hide. The interviewer doesn't see humility in this, but a lack of confidence. And so the opportunity is lost, not because this person lacked talent, but because they acted like someone who doesn't believe in themselves. Now imagine the same person, with the same skills, but with a different attitude, head held high, firm voice, and confident presence. She's not pretending to be perfect. She's simply chosen to act like someone who is growing, like someone who already trusts in her own strength. This simple change transforms everything. Epictetus said that nothing great is born suddenly, and the same applies to you. You don't need to know everything to act with confidence. You can start now by treating yourself with respect, walking like someone who knows they deserve it, and speaking like someone who recognizes their own worth. This isn't pretending, it's direction. Pretending in this sense isn't lying, it's taking a step forward, showing your mind a new kind of behavior, stronger, more confident, and closer to the person you want to become. Because if you continue to see yourself as weak, your actions will shrink along with that image. But when you begin to stand up firmly, to assert yourself in the world with presence, and to respect yourself, you send a silent message. I am greater than what they tried to make me believe. At this moment, your pain, your old beliefs, and everything that has hurt you cease to define you. What has passed does not measure your worth. You are not what happened to you. You are what you decide to do from now on. Each new action is like changing the mirror. The reflected image changes, and instead of wounds, you begin to see the choice to grow. If this is the turning point you need, say aloud, I choose to believe in myself. This is the first brick of the new life that begins within you. Lesson 4. Change the structure of your mind. You don't wait for the house to catch fire before looking for water, right? So why wait until you're breaking down inside to start treating yourself with care? The way you talk to yourself creates the foundation of your confidence. That's where many become enemies of their own evolution. Want to change? Change your tone. Talk to yourself like you would talk to someone you truly love. Instead of tearing yourself down, learn to get back up. The voice that echoes inside your head every day is the one that decides the course of your life. Stop repeating phrases like, I'm bad at this, I'll never succeed, there's no solution for me. How many times have you said that without realizing it? These words seem harmless, but they become the music your mind plays non-stop. The brain doesn't judge whether something is real or false. It only registers and reacts. If you repeat a lie long enough, it becomes a belief. That's how neuroplasticity works. What you repeat, the brain strengthens. What it strengthens, it transforms into a habit. William James already said, "The greatest miracle of human nature is being able to change one's life by changing one's way of thinking." Each thought is like a brick, and you choose whether it will build a bridge to your future or a wall that keeps you stuck in the same place. This is what happens in real life. Think of someone who decides to go back to school after a long time. They buy notebooks, start classes, and at the first mistake, they hear a voice saying, "You're too old, you don't even know the basics." The result? They give up. Now imagine if that voice said, "Every beginning is complicated, but you've already started. Making mistakes while trying is 1,000 times better than never trying." Do you see the difference? It's not empty talk, it's internal support, it's behavioral science. Epictetus already said, "The mind takes the form you give it, and that form begins with the way you talk to yourself. If you call yourself incapable, your brain accepts it. If you remind it that it's learning, it calms down. This changes everything, from the way you study to how you react to your own mistakes. It's not about being lenient with yourself, it's about being fair. Be like a good coach, firm when necessary, but never cruel. Correct, but without belittling. Guide, but without destroying. The way you speak to yourself today defines the kind of life you will have tomorrow. So, make a new pact with yourself. Write in the comments, "Today, I'm changing my structure," because those who learn to treat themselves with respect begin to achieve things that previously seemed out of reach. Lesson 5. Act as if you are already strong. Everything you repeat becomes stronger, and this applies to both your attitudes and your thoughts. Every time you act as if you are small, every time you tell yourself, "This isn't for me," or "I don't know how to do it," your brain records this story as truth. It understands that this is the main path and begins to reinforce this road within you. But when you decide to act as if you already have the courage, as if you are already capable, as someone who seeks solutions instead of excuses, you begin to open a new path in your mind. And that's not just a figure of speech. Your brain has a system called ascending reticular activating system, which acts as a natural attention filter. This filter works in favor of what you repeat. What you focus on, it amplifies. What you believe, it confirms. And Henry Ford explained this in a simple and powerful way. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, either way, you're right. Whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right either way. Consider this in real life. Two salespeople show the same product to different people. The first spends the day telling himself, "I don't know how to speak properly. They'll think it's too expensive. I'll end up messing things up." And what happens? When the time comes to present, his voice is weak. He avoids eye contact, shows insecurity, and the customer quickly loses interest. The second salesperson, on the other hand, thinks silently, "This product has value. I know the benefits well. I can explain it clearly." Nervousness creeps in, but she speaks firmly. Her words are energetic. She answers confidently. And the customer is engaged. The product was the same, the client similar, but the result was completely different. Why? Because one fed their mind with doubt, and the other fed their mind with confidence. Epictetus already said, "It's not what happens to you that matters, but how you react." And this reaction doesn't arise in the moment of difficulty. It begins before, in the thoughts you nurture every day, in the way you choose to treat yourself and act. When you focus only on fear, your mind begins to distort the world. A simple glance from someone seems like judgment. An opportunity becomes a risk of failure. Even another person's silence seems like rejection. Thus, you begin to live surrounded by invented fears that drain your energy as if they were real. And even before trying, you already feel like a loser. But when you start acting as if you already have confidence, as if you already live in abundance, something changes inside. You stop clinging to the thought, "What if it goes wrong?" and begin to see the small chances that have always been in front of you. And the more you act like this, the more you realize that the impossible was only invisible to those who were standing still. Therefore, the key is not to wait for courage to act, but to act so that courage appears. Your brain reacts to movement, not to promises. Each step taken is real proof that you have already left the state of lack and entered the state of creation. So think honestly, where is your focus today? On fear or on possibility? On scarcity or abundance? The answer doesn't come from outside, but from the small gestures you repeat every day. Lesson 6. Use each challenge as a stepping stone to move up. Everyone wants to grow, but almost no one wants to be tested. But there is no growth without trials. Those who run from challenges also run from the chance to evolve. Because challenges are not punishments, they are invitations to a new version of yourself. Life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It simply puts something difficult in your path and observes, will you retreat or will you use it as momentum? Many, faced with the first difficulty, give up. They see the obstacle as a threat, as something personal. Others take a deep breath, adjust their focus, and face whatever comes. They may make mistakes, but they remain steadfast. And that's what separates those who merely try from those who truly succeed. Imagine a long race. At the beginning, everyone seems strong and full of energy. But the truth comes out on the climb, in that stretch that demands everything. That's where you distinguish those who just wanted to participate from those who truly want to conquer. Some slow down, look around, complain. Others accelerate, knowing that it's that climb that separates comfort from overcoming challenges. Marcus Aurelius said, God doesn't give you what you want, but what you need to grow. And what you often need is exactly what throws you off balance, the harsh criticism, the plan that fails, the pain that exposes your limits. Life isn't against you, it's shaping you. The obstacle isn't the enemy, it's the teacher. The problem isn't the stone in your path, but how you perceive it. When you change the meaning, you also change the experience. So repeat to yourself, what challenges me makes me grow. And when you start thinking like that, even pain transforms into strength. Lesson 7. The power of living surrounded by new possibilities. Act as if you already have access to the world you desire. Walk as if you are already a part of it. When you place yourself in situations that challenge you to grow, your mind opens up, and what once seemed impossible begins to feel natural. Think about it. If you only associate with people who are content with little, any step beyond that will seem excessive or overly ambitious. But when you get closer to those who have already achieved what you seek, suddenly success stops seeming like a distant dream and starts to seem like a matter of action, planning, and mindset. Those who live surrounded by limitations only see walls. Those who live surrounded by possibilities see paths. That is the power of coexistence. It shows with facts that it is possible. The brain needs to see to believe, and nothing is stronger than witnessing firsthand that success exists. Epictetus already warned, often we become what we choose to look at. Everything you see, hear, and connect with shapes the size of your steps and the course of your life. It's not about feeling envious or competing, but about learning from those who have already walked the path. Newton said, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." He became one of the greatest geniuses in history because he knew how to learn from the examples that came before him. And that's what transforms personal limitations into stepping stones that lead to the incredible. If someone else could do it, you can too. But to do that, you need to change what you put into your mind. Choose your surroundings carefully. Stay close to people, places, and ideas that uplift you, not diminish you. Because when you act as if you're already at a higher level, your brain starts working to truly take you there. No change happens on its own. Where you are can either help or hinder what you're trying to create. Lesson 8. Maintain good posture. Always. The world understands who you are even before hearing what you say. The way you walk, look, and position yourself already shows how much you believe in yourself. The body speaks, even without words, and reveals whether you act as if you own your own story or as someone who apologizes for existing. If you walk with your head down, avoid eye contact, speak in a trembling voice, and try to occupy as little space as possible, you are not only showing insecurity, but also reinforcing it within yourself. Every small gesture of weakness teaches your brain to believe that you are less than you really are. Now imagine the opposite. You wake up in the house you've always wanted, put on an outfit that shows off your best features, get into your dream car, and head to the most important date of your life. What would your gaze be like? The way you walk, the tone of your voice? This presence doesn't need to be saved for the future. You can live it now. Every step taken with a winner's attitude teaches your mind to believe that victory is already part of who you are. And when you believe in yourself, the people around you also begin to believe. Your brain observes what you do and adjusts its image according to what it sees. That's why lifting your head, looking people in the eye, and speaking firmly are gestures that change more than they seem. They are signals to the body that you are in control, that you are already living like someone who has achieved what they wanted. Epictetus said that no one is truly free unless they learn to govern themselves. Controlling what you show on the outside is the first step to aligning your life with the richness that already exists within you. It's not about pretending to be someone else, but acting as if you are already the version that is being born. You don't need luxury. You need presence, a firm gaze, and meaningful steps. Those who walk with purpose transmit confidence, even before reaching their destination. Today, pay attention to your body, your voice, the way you walk. Ask yourself, does this show the confident and prosperous person I want to be, or is it still a reflection of the old self that's been left behind? Change begins in the body, but it becomes real within the mind. But there's something important to understand. If you've been trying for a long time to step out of your comfort zone and learn more, but haven't been able to, there might be something you're not aware of. I know what it might be. Anxiety. Anxiety is like a snake that creeps up silently and affects you without you even realizing it. It leaves you feeling unwell for days, months, and even years. Living like this is like being sick all the time. But I know a solution. Stoic philosophers, along with modern psychology, have a way to help you get rid of it. I managed to cure myself of this anxiety. I made a video explaining how you can get rid of this problem, and it's in the first comment. Click the link in the first comment and start healing yourself from this feeling of anxiety. Lesson 9. Stop living in fear of what others think. Nothing is more binding than the fear of others' judgment. You know what you want, you know what you need to do, but when you try to act, you already imagine the stares. When you post something, you already expect the criticism, and when you try something new, you hear laughter that didn't even happen. This fear is treacherous because it doesn't come screaming. It arrives with excuses. Now is not the time. They'll think it's an exaggeration. What if nobody likes it? So you end up hoarding ideas, opinions, and talents until you forget what it's like to act freely. But here's the truth. Everyone who has grown and accomplished something important has felt that same fear. The difference is that they persevered because they cared more about being true to themselves than about pleasing others. The fear of seeming like an imposter is simply the price to pay for those who are expanding their reach. Accept paying it. Think about it. People will judge you anyway, even if you do nothing, even if you try to please everyone, even if you hide. So why not be judged for trying to be authentic instead of being praised for living a life that isn't even yours? Imagine this scene. A woman dreams of starting a cooking channel, but never records anything because she hates the sound of her own voice. Meanwhile, another person, with less practice and less preparation, has the courage, records anyway, makes mistakes, learns, and improves over time. And that's why courage always wins over the pursuit of perfection. Epictetus already said, "If you want to be good, accept looking foolish. Accept being misunderstood at first. Accept not pleasing everyone. Because if you don't have the courage to be who you truly are, you'll end up spending your whole life playing a role you never chose." Freedom begins when you stop asking permission to exist. It's at that moment that your choices cease to be driven by fear and begin to be guided by truth. Those who don't bow to the opinions of others walk with their heads held high, earn respect, and live in peace with their own hearts. In the end, there's only one approval capable of sustaining your entire life, the one that comes from yourself. Lesson 10. Practice the elegance of simple things done with sincerity. We live in a time that idolizes excess. More clothes, more opinions, more things to show off, more goals to prove. The mind begins to believe that value exists in accumulation, that greatness is measured by quantity and not by depth. But the more you fill yourself with things that don't support who you are, the heavier you become. Excess steals clarity, drains energy, and silences what is essential. Elegance lies in little, when that little is genuine. The Stoics knew this. They didn't seek a life full of ornaments. They sought a life with purpose and coherence. An honest gesture is worth more than 100 words spoken to impress. A sincere habit is worth more than an entire identity built to appear strong on the outside and empty on the inside. Simplicity is a kind of strength that doesn't need to announce itself. It sustains itself. Imagine a house with open windows, light streaming in, and space to breathe. Now imagine a house full of furniture, objects, and noise. The first is welcoming. The second suffocates. The mind works the same way. When you begin to eliminate the excess, something new emerges. Space arises to think, feel, and decide. Presence emerges. Truth emerges. The elegance of simplicity lies in choosing what matters and letting the rest go. It's about making decisions that reflect your essence, not your fears. It's about speaking only when words build, acting only when action has meaning, wearing only what represents who you are, and associating only with those who respect your light. This isn't isolation, it's selection. It's emotional maturity. See it in practice. Doing a short, focused workout is worth more than planning the perfect gym and never going. Reading 5 pages a day attentively is worth more than accumulating books you never open. A sincere conversation with someone who listens is worth more than hours of empty companionship. A genuine apology is worth more than 1,000 justifications. Life gains texture when you choose quality over quantity. And here's the central point. The little things done with sincerity take root. They repeat themselves, expand, and sustain themselves. When you do something with intention, even something small, your mind understands that there is direction. When you do it to show off, to prove yourself, to please others, everything quickly falls apart and leaves a void greater than before. The elegance of simplicity is silent. It needs no announcement. It needs no proof. It reveals itself in the way you wake up, walk, breathe, organize, talk. It appears when you do everything with presence. Presence is the mark of truth. It doesn't matter if it's a simple breakfast, a short workout, a brief text, or a short prayer. When you are fully present in what you do, it changes how you feel. And how you feel changes who you become. Marcus Aurelius wrote that what is essential is always simple. We are the ones who complicate things to avoid facing what really matters. Simplifying is an act of courage. It is choosing to shed personas, masks, and exaggerations. It is letting go of what was used to protect oneself. It is walking cleanly, firmly, and without haste. The question you need to ask yourself today is, what in my life is true? What remains even when no one is watching? What do I do that truly strengthens me? And what is here only to distract me from myself? The answer doesn't need to come quickly. It just needs to be honest. If you want to apply this lesson now, do the following. Choose something that no longer serves you and let it go. It could be a habit, a demand, an object, a comparison, a companion. Take the weight off your shoulders. Make space. Life can only enter when there is room for it. Write as an intimate commitment. Today I choose the little that is true. Lesson 11. Make your inner dialogue your ally. You talk to yourself all the time, even when you don't realize it. There's a voice inside narrating, judging, interpreting, and guiding you. This voice is the lens through which you see the world, and especially yourself. And this is where many get lost. They let this voice become an enemy, a constant critic, a source of doubt, sabotage, and shame. The mind becomes a battlefield when it should be a place of guidance. The truth is simple, but powerful. No one can bring you down faster than the way you think about yourself. Seneca said that nothing hurts us as much as what we say to ourselves in silence. It is this internal dialogue that determines your mood, your courage, your confidence, and your ability to act. If the voice inside you says you can't, your body gives up before it even tries. If she says this is difficult, but you can learn, the path opens up. The problem isn't the world, it's how you interpret it. It's not the obstacle itself, it's the meaning you place on it. It's not the criticism of others. It's the criticism you repeat to yourself. Imagine someone who spends years telling themselves, "I'm not capable." This thought becomes a prophecy. The mind creates what it believes. Attention nourishes what grows within you. Psychology calls this neuroplasticity. The connections you strengthen become automatic. If you repeat fear, fear rules. If you repeat courage, courage flourishes. If you keep repeating that you are learning, the mistake becomes part of the process, not proof of inability. Therefore, the first step is not to change your life, but to change the conversation you have with yourself. It's not about repeating empty self-help phrases. It's about transforming the tone and intent of your inner voice. When you make a mistake, don't say, "I am a failure." Say, "It's okay, I'll learn from it." When you feel afraid, don't say, "I can't." Say, "I can go one step at a time." When comparing yourself to others, don't say, "I'm behind." Say, "I am in my own time, and I will continue." That voice doesn't need to praise you all the time. She just needs, "I won't sabotage you." Being your own inner ally means being firm yet compassionate. It's about correcting without humiliating. It's about guiding without destroying. It's about remembering your worth when the world tries to shrink you. Epictetus said, "No man is free until he learns to govern his own mind." And governing the mind isn't about silencing negative thoughts. It's about learning to respond to them consciously. Take a breath before believing everything your mind tells you. Ask, is this true or is it fear? Does this strengthen me or weaken me? Is this the voice of my greatness or of my wound? The choice is yours. It always has been. The inner voice can be the poison or the remedy. It can destroy you without anyone seeing, or it can be what lifts you up when no one is looking. Today, make a silent, intimate, non-negotiable pact. From now on, I talk to myself as someone who is growing up. I don't abandon myself. I support myself. Because when your mind becomes your ally, nothing out there has enough power to bring you down. Lesson 12. Be the guardian of your choices. Every choice you make is a seed planted in the future. Even the smallest decisions, what you think when you wake up, what you tolerate during the day, what you say yes or no to, are silent acts that define the course of your life. However, often you make decisions as if you were choosing at random, as if they were too small to change anything. But nothing is small when it's repeated every day. What seems like a simple habit today can become a wall or a prison tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius said that the soul has the color of the thoughts you nourish. Similarly, your life takes the shape of the choices you uphold. If you choose to procrastinate every day, you are choosing a life where the future is always postponed. If you choose to remain silent so as not to displease others, you are choosing a life where your desires are always less important than those of others. If you choose to distract yourself instead of acting, you are choosing a life where your dreams always remain in the realm of almost. And the hardest part is that these choices are made silently. Almost no one sees it. There's no audience, no applause, no recognition. But it is they who build or destroy their own path. The real choices aren't made at the moment of big decisions. They are made in small. The moment you wake up, the moment you think about giving up, at the moment when you decide to keep going even when you're tired. Being the guardian of your choices means taking full responsibility for yourself. It's about stopping blaming life, the past, others, luck, or circumstances. It's about looking into your own eyes and saying, if my life is my path, then I choose each step with intention. That doesn't mean you'll never make a mistake. Making mistakes is part of being human. What cannot happen is living on autopilot, like someone handing the steering wheel of their own life over to fear, laziness, or the opinions of others. Think of someone who decides to exercise. It's not the first workout that transforms the body. It's about repeating the workouts even on days when you don't feel like it. It is a renewed, silent, constant choice. Or someone who decides to study in order to change careers. It's not one night of hard work that creates the result. It's a small daily commitment, sometimes 15 minutes, sometimes an hour. It is the humble gesture that, when added together, becomes greatness. The Stoics knew this. They understood that freedom is born not from desire but from discipline. When you become the guardian of your choices, you stop being a slave to your impulses. You choose what enters your mind, what remains in your heart, what takes up space in your time, and what you build with your own hands, and life begins to take on consistency, clarity, direction. So ask yourself now, with deep sincerity, do the choices I'm making today reflect the life I want to live tomorrow? If the answer is no, don't blame yourself, but change today, not tomorrow, not when everything is perfect, not when I feel like it. Change doesn't happen when the world makes it easy. It happens when you decide to. Remember this as an undeniable truth. Your life is the sum of your repeated choices. And if you want a different destination, start by choosing differently, even if it's a small step. Greatness is born from detail. Write as a commitment, here and now. I choose consciously. I am the guardian of my own life. Lesson 13. Treat fear as a compass, not as a barrier. Fear is not your enemy. It never was. Fear exists to point out where you need to grow. It's a sign, a direction, a call, but you've been taught to see it as a wall, a warning of danger, something to be avoided at all costs. But when you run from fear, you're not protecting yourself. You're shrinking. You're leaving a part of your life behind. You're leaving dreams on paper, relationships unfinished, opportunities that may never return. Fear isn't trying to paralyze you. He is trying to show you where your soul still is small. Think about it for a moment. Everything that is natural to you today, walking, speaking in public, working, loving, exposing yourself, was once terrifying. You only grew because you overcame that fear. The fear was there, but you went anyway. Courage isn't born from its absence. Courage is born when you realize there's something more important than remaining stagnant. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius said that fear is a feeling, not a destiny. Epictetus reminded us that we should not fear things themselves, but rather the way we interpret them. What fear is telling you is not, stop. What he says is, there is something valuable on the other side. Fear arises when you're going to say what you think for the first time, when you decide to end something that no longer serves you, when a new project begins, when changing cities, careers, or direction, when choosing for the first time. And that's why fear hurts. It marks exactly the point where your life can expand. Think of a bridge. Halfway through, you're no longer where you were, but you also haven't arrived at the new place yet. This is the territory of fear, the midpoint between the past and possibility. Many people, when they get into this field, back down. And that's where life repeats itself. The pain, the cycles, the silent failures repeat themselves, not because the person lacked the ability, but because she retreated at the exact moment she should have advanced. The difference between those who grow and those who stand still is simple. Those who grow use fear as a guide. Those who stagnate use fear as an excuse. If something scares you, observe. Is there any truth to this? Is there desire there? Is there growth there? If the answer is yes, then fear is pointing you in the right direction, not the other way around. And how is this done in practice? Don't fight fear, walk with it. Don't try to eliminate it, talk to it, ask, what are you showing me? You'll realize that fear always reveals something about who you're about to become. Treat fear like a master. He's telling you where there is life, where there is power, where your next level exists. Courage is not a roar, it's a step. Just one. Life doesn't require you to do everything at once. She asks only that you take the first step with a firm heart. Because when you take that first step, something changes. Fear diminishes, confidence increases. You stop acting like someone who asks permission to exist and start acting like someone who chooses to live. And gradually, fear ceases to be a threat and becomes a compass. You look at him and say, if I'm afraid, it's because it's important, so I'm going. Now say to yourself, in a low voice, in a loud voice, on paper, in your heart, today I choose to move forward, even though I'm afraid. Today I treat fear as a path, not as a prison, because the fate of those who overcome fear is always the same: growth, strength, and a life that finally makes sense. Lesson 14. Live as if you've already succeeded. You don't change just by wishing, you change by acting. Your identity isn't born from words, but from the actions you repeat every day. The world doesn't listen to what you promise to do. It sees what you actually do. How many times have you said, "This time it's going to work, this time it's for real," and the next day you went back to your old habits, the same distractions and excuses? Every time this happens, your mind starts to doubt. Your promises lose weight and your confidence weakens. The brain learns through repetition. If you say you'll wake up early and don't, it understands that it doesn't matter. If you promise to work out and then give up, it records, "That word is worthless." And when even you stop believing in what you say, everything around you begins to crumble, because no amount of fine words can sustain a life without action. Think about someone who wants to be productive. They make lists, post motivational quotes, watch videos about discipline, but keep getting distracted and procrastinating. The intention is there, but their behavior shows something else. Epictetus already warned us, don't be proud of knowing what needs to be done, do it. True change begins in silence. It's about turning off your cell phone, finishing what you started, saying no when you previously said yes. It's in this discreet practice that your new version begins to emerge. Want to become more courageous? Then start by speaking your mind in the small situations of the day. Want to be calmer and more balanced? Then choose silence in moments when you would otherwise lose control. Want to feel more secure? Straighten your body, lift your head, and walk as if you've already achieved what you wanted, even if fear still lingers inside. That's how it all begins. First you act, then the feeling follows. Most people give up because they want to feel confident before acting. But the truth is that confidence only appears when you act. If you've made it this far, it's because something inside you has already begun to change, and that's worth more than any ready-made answer. You've already stopped living on autopilot, and those who awaken to their own lives have already begun the transformation process. Don't wait for the perfect moment to act. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't waste time debating what a good person should be like. Be one." So act like you've already become that version of yourself, fake it till it's second nature, and repeat it every day until there's no doubt about who you are. Write this down, I'm already becoming that way. Because the world doesn't respond to what you say you'll do, it responds to what you show with attitude and courage. If this message resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.